kwa sababu Kenya pia si ni kubwa. Si mngetaka nitembee kila sehemu ya Kenya? Na hapa Kisije nitembee, nikuje kuangalia soko na hiyo barabara ya Etago. Hiyo mmesema hii nikuje kila wiki, kila mwezi, nikuje nisikuje? Nimekaribishwa. Wacha nione wale wanakaribisha deputy president hapa. Basi wakati inakuja hapa, nimetoka sehemu ya Kakamega, ikiwa njiani nimepigia mdosi wangu kiongozi wetu wa taifa William Ruto simu, nikamwambia rais, sasa naelekea kwa wale watu wako wapendwa wa South Mugirango kule Kisii. Je, utanituma na salamu? Rais ameniambia mambo mawili. Ameniambia niwasalamie na anawapenda baya sana. Anawapenda kabisa. Na amewasalisia kabisa. Anawapenda kabisa. Sawa sawa? Na anawajali. Na anafanya kazi na viongozi wenu wote hapa na wale hawako hapa, ili hii South Mugirango na Kisii ipate maendeleo na manufaa ya serikali hii. Anawapenda sana, amewasalamia. Umepokea salamu ya Rais William Ruto? Wacha nione kwa mkono wale wamepokea salamu ya rais. Salamu ya rais, salamu ya rais, salamu ya rais, salamu ya rais. Ya pili ameniambia sio salamu peke yake, sio salamu ya mdomo peke yake, hata hii salamu ya kusaidia wataongeza kwa ile imechangwa. Mchango ya rais niko naye hapa ya shilingi milioni 3. Na mimi kama deputy president naleta hiyo pesa.
Yes, of course. Africa 24 here we're discussing about the politics, and also we are also trying to focus on 2027, the calendar for 2027, on who is going to win after Gachagua. And now he has been uniting Kenyans with very big choruses, the likes of high cousins, high brothers. But now we are having Kidure Kindiki also moving around also to give support for William Ruto. I am not alone here. I have Jeremiah. Jeremiah, now we know it's only 1 year to 2027. Ruto, after impeaching Gachagua, of course, now he's feeling. Do you think Ruto is feeling the intensity of Gachagua? Is Gachagua the best opposition? Because Kenyans are saying Raila Odinga has been just joking in the opposition. Now they have the best opposition. Is this true?
Thanks, Bon. You know, you have to put everything into context and into perspective. First, Gachagua is pumping himself up to do what? To be president or to be what? Because we know very well legally he cannot hold any public office for the next 10 years from the time he was impeached. So you know that when the next elections come around, hizi simama legally. That is one. Two, if he is going to do the opposition, is he being the opposition in the public gallery, or is he being in the opposition legislatively in the place where legislation is carried out, which is parliament? He can make noise only once, kwa rallies, and call brother, sister, cousin only once. But does that have any impact on legislation in the National Assembly or in the Senate? It doesn't. So Gachagua has every right to prop himself as the next leader of the opposition. Only once he can do that. But the practicality of him doing that is what really matters. Kupiga mtu yote anaweza piga kelele, hata mimi naweza toka niseme mimi niko kwa opposition, but does my noise translate into impacting legislation? Does my noise translate into keeping the government accountable, being, providing the checks and balances that is required in governance? I don't think that Gachagua has yet organized himself properly in a manner that anyone can take him seriously as being the next opposition. He is running around, which is his right. There is this other team that has Matiangi, has Kalonzo, has Wamalwa, that is also propping itself as the opposition. Mara they're working together, Mara they're not working together. We don't know where they stand. Then there is this angle of former CJ Maraga also is in there. So even if they are running the opposition, they are still too disjointed, like I say, to have any impact on matters legislation. Wasting their money running around that they can do all they want. They can call each other all names they want. But what matters really is the impact they have on legislation in the National Assembly and the Senate. The ability to keep the government in check and provide an alternative voice for anything that the government does. I think they lack in all of that. So Gachagua has every right to make all the noise he wants, but I don't think that he's really serious. He's a serious threat to the government. Not really the government. He's not really a threat to the existing executive, as it were. So we'll see when the time comes. Kama he will still hold, and we're yet to see him outside of Murema and a little bit of eastern na nini na coast. Hatujaona akipiga kelele anywhere else. Let's see him go and make noise in northeastern. Let him go and make noise in western. Let's see him go and make noise in Luo Nyanza.
But
Let's
Jeremiah, this is not making noise, because when you just observe the trend in the social media, even if Gachagua lands in the northeastern Kenya, very sure even the youth will just recognize Gachagua. Even if he goes to Nyanza.
I'm not disputing that. What I'm saying is let him see, let him go, let's see how he's received. That's what I'm saying. I'm not saying let them receive him, let them reject him, whatever will happen. What I'm saying is let's see him do it. The proof of the pudding is in the testing. Afike hapo tuone the way those regions will receive him. Once we see how those regions receive him, tutajua how serious he is. But in all honesty, I'm using the word noise deliberately and intentionally, because like I said, everything he's doing is very interesting in the public gallery, but does it impact on the executive or the administration? I think it doesn't. And that's the reason why I'm using the term noise. That's why I'm saying he's making noise. Hivyo tu.
Is the real so most of Kenyans, they're saying now is the best opposition leader currently, from what he has been saying. Of course, let's just have a look on some of the things Gachagua has been saying. After the death of Albert Ojwang, of course, we'll also talk about the death of Albert Ojwang, whereby a lot of Kenyans also are coming out to condemn the situation whereby the young man died in the hands of the police.
Mheshimiwa wanyu Munyoro kwi andu aguthiete ni atumana na Ngai ni mwamukira andu aitũ nĩ twaiguithania nĩ mũkũnyitirĩra rĩu ndaumagara gũcaria arata nĩ mũgũikaria mũciĩ nĩ mũgũikaria mũciĩ nĩ mũkũgiria gũkũ gũtuĩke gĩtumĩro gĩa kũrehwo noe na kũrehwo maboco nĩ mũkũgitĩra gĩtĩo gitũ ta nyũmba itũ mũndũ nĩ one term cut one term Wagabu anasema ni one term. Harambe Kasongo aende asiende. Mimi nikimalizia, I want to say one thing. Nimeona, I have seen William Ruto saying that he is not going to allow rogue police officers. The rogue police officer called Lagat works under the instructions of William Ruto. When I was in Kasarani, Mweki PCA, it is William Ruto who called Lagat and told him to withdraw police officers so that goons can come and attack us inside church. William Ruto, how can you say you don't want rogue police officers when you are the one who has made them rogue because you are the one who gives them instructions on what to do? Sisi tunataka tuseme, hata wale watu walitekwa nyara huko Marakwet, postmortem imefanyiwa, wamepatikana, they were also tortured. Na nilisema there is a squad of 101 police officers that was formed upon the approval of William Ruto, attached to the National Intelligence Service for high-level training on abductions, torture, and extrajudicial killings. So, however, William Ruto, if you are serious, first order the disbandment of that unit that you founded for the purposes of torture, for the purposes of abduction and extrajudicial killing. Direnda kumwira atiri andu aitu mwiyumiria nimo kwiyumiria na muikare muriri itho niguo nimugweka uguo na murora muno akunyaniria ruriri turenda mekirwo rurita kagogo niguo mekirwo rurita ki na kwi handu turikinya maji aguthii utuku tumekire mbugi ngingo niguo nigetha magiuka tukamenyaga andu athabotha ndi ndakena muno ndakinya wa Munyoro ngeithanie wa Munyoro ni murioka gucera
Jeremia, umesikia vile Gachagua anasema anajua siri, anajua ni nani ana abduct watu, nani anaua watu. Unafikiri pia hizi
first thing, this is a very reputable platform, and I would like to believe that it's being listened to by all Kenyans. Please do the platform a service. When you want to play clips, please do not play clips of people addressing their people in their village, in their mother tongue. That is the first thing you have to do. If you want to bring a clip that speaks the language of Kenya, not the language of a single segment of Kenya. So when you bring a clip of somebody addressing his villagers in his language, that is a disservice to this honorable platform. That is one. Two, you have not understood what I said very well. That everything Gachagua is saying is noise. Whatever he has said there, does it impact on administration? Does it impact on legislation? Does it impact on anything? Does it have any? He's just making the same noise I would also go on top of a vehicle and say, but it doesn't have impact. So when he calls himself the new opposition, his activity should impact on legislation and administration. When Raila runs the opposition, he says things and he pushes legislation in parliament. He sends his allied MPs to pass, to present to parliament bills that impact on legislation, that impact on administration of the country. He doesn't just make noise on top of a vehicle and then he goes home. Until Gachagua does that, if he has any MPs or senators aligned to him, awatume kwa parliament, kwa National Assembly or to the Senate with legislation that impacts on administration and legislation. If he's not doing that, to be honest, everything he's saying is just noise. If he knows that unit that he's saying, why can't he approach it and tackle it from a more sober angle than just a political rhetoric kwa watu wake wa village? So I don't see how Gachagua is going to to have a lot of impact moving forward. His noise will influence some people, but the bottom line is when push come to shove, atataka nini? Atasimama ama ataambia wafuazi wake, sasa mimi siwezi simama, fuatini ule nani. Sialete huyo nani wake, atataka watu wafuate, ajulikane saa hii. Siwezi kufuata for 2 years, then ikifika saa ya kura uniambie sasa mimi siwezi fika nawe finishing line, but I prefer ufuate ule nani. Bring that person mapema, umsaidie, tumjue, tumpige kisasa, so that tujue tunaenda na nani. I don't think that Gachagua is good for public rallies, but I think ikifika kwa kura, it's going to be a different story. Because one thing I know, hata kama anapiga kelele na sijui Gen Z is a totally different animal from what Gachagua is. Those two entities are very far apart. And if anything, Gachagua is the perfect thing that Gen Zs are fighting against: impunity, tribalism, balkanization of the country, and corruption. He is the perfect example of what Gen Zs are fighting against. So there is no way watakimbia na yeye atuende na yeye mahali that will influence the way they vote. I don't think that will happen.
Thank you so much, Jeremiah. Of course, you're also here discussing about the card for 2027, because politicians are also coming out as they try to focus on 2027. And also, I can see someone is saying that Rift Valley, we are saying Ruto must go. That is someone, Obadia Yagon from Rift Valley, saying that Ruto must go. And Gachagua, of course, he has said something there, and of course, he's Bantu, and also can hear what he is saying. But he is saying he knows very well the people who are abducting and killing people in the government. After the death of Albert Ojwang, I think, Jeremiah, you have not commented about the death of Albert Ojwang, the young man from Homa Bay who was just taken from home, and then he died in between Central Police Station and Karura and DCI. Now, we also about Albert Ojwang. This is one of the things that has caused demos the other day in the country, because Kenyans demand justice for the Albert Ojwang, and also the police officer who also was caught in the camera shooting the mask vendor along the CBD. Did you think that this death of Alberto Juang, the police officer, the rogue police officers who are being caught doing these kind of behaviors will also influence and affect William Ruto winning 2027, despite the fact that still we have not heard which political party Gachagua also is vying, but we know that he was impeached, so it might take long. But we also have Matiang'i, who just came from abroad yesterday. He's back. He's vying. Kalonzo still there. We have a lot of politicians. But do you think the kind of things that we are experiencing in the country might affect William Ruto in 2027 when it comes to looking and also vying for the second term?
Yeah, definitely. Those things are going to impact on the approval or likability of this administration and its leadership come the next election. So there is no doubt about that. But we have to compartmentalize everything. The fact that those things will impact on Ruto does not mean that they are going to make Gachagua the president. We have to separate those two issues. You know, so the impact on Ruto, yes, that will happen. But then again, we also have to be aware to the fact that the elections are, quite a number of years away. Anything can happen. Things can change. The government can change its ways, can sanitize itself. A year or so to the election. So anything can happen until we get to where now people start making decisions because the elections are very near. Right now, I think the ball is still up in the air. So we cannot say that, because of all that is happening, the votes will go Gashagua's way. And to be honest, Bon, like I said, Gachagua cannot run legally as it is right now. So I don't know why we really have to uh, put a lot of currency on him running. We can put currency. He has a party, that's fine, right? We can say his party wants to step up, but then who will be the flag bearer for him, for his party? Because the election is not given, the vote is not for the party, it's going to be for the individual. And as long as Gachagua is not running, like I said, I'm not going to give him a single cent of credibility as a potential, winner of the elections because legally he cannot run. I know that for a fact, unless our laws are changed somewhere along the way.
Asante sana Jeremiah for giving us that analysis. Jeremiah, you can see your best friend here. Mzalendo amepotea sana, hata wangeangi hata hajaonekana. Mzalendo,
Nimeona
karibu sana.
mzalendo hapo.
Hi, hey, Jeremy, how are you, Bana? I am fine. A lot has been happening. So how are things?
Things are fine. I've been very busy traveling and all,
Mm-hmm.
but leo nimepata time.
Umefanya
Good to
vizuri
see you.
sana. A lot has happened. A lot has happened in politics. And when I find you here, there is
Mm,
more we can grind in terms of politics so that we know where we are heading as a
mm,
country. So much has been happening in our country lately. And the latest discovery is the bodies of those the bodies that have been discovered in Siaya. So
mm,
over 10 bodies have been discovered in Siaya. That is what something that I've just seen from my pages. So this is very very sad that we are in a country where people are just killing each other, and killing is just the norm, and it is normal, and we go back home and we are not as annoyed as we should be about these extrajudicial killings. This is something that we need to be talking about so that we can put it to an end. Imagine residents of a particular area. I've been seeing some of these vehicles each and every night coming and dumping bodies there, and they can't talk. You know, there is a policy where when you see something, you need to say something about it. But these people have just been keeping quiet about the bodies. Imagine every other night there is some, for not every day, but occasionally their bodies being dumped in Rivayala. Yeah,
mm,
and the residents there, they see. Can you imagine you are in the village? There are these vehicles that normally come there at that particular time, dump bodies, and they go. I mean, residents of that area cannot at one point say that, okay, these be vehicles that have been coming here. Let us find out about them. I think,
mm,
Jeremy, if we were living in those days, and we were in the village, and we see vehicles coming in the wee hours of the night to dump bodies, would you be? Uh, Naturally, you'd be concerned about these things.
mm,
Naturally, the chief in that particular area knows about what has been happening there, and it's
mm,
not one incident. It is so many times, and it is in a particular location. So what
mm,
they forget is that when somebody is dumped in the river, after some days they swell and they pop up.
mm,
So I think there needs to be proper investigations by the Police Service Commission. But again, the activists need to push for a public inquiry about these incidents that have been happening in Siaya County. The governor
mm,
is quiet about it. He's not even talking about it. I think Orengo
mm,
needs to say something about the bodies that have been discovered in his county each and every time, unless he's also aware of what is happening. Yeah,
mm,
yeah, that is my feeling. So if anytime there is a missing body, and people who are listening to Afrik this evening, they need to rush to see a sub county hospital to see whether their loved ones are among those bodies that have been discovered. Some of them
mm,
are tortured, tied in sacks, and things like that. Can you imagine we live with such kind of people? Those are not human beings that live in our society, I'm telling you. Hmm?
mm. You are very right, Mzalendo. It's terrible that
Hmm?
these things are happening. Yeah?
Hmm?
The the reason why they are happening is what we need to go and find out.
Hmm.
We need to find out why are people being killed.
Hmm.
If we can come up with an answer, an honest answer to that question, then
Hmm.
I think we could it would be a good starting point to try and figure out who is doing all this.
Mhm.
But if we go straight to try to find out which vehicle, what time did it come, what did it do, who was driving it, and all, we will never find, because these are covert operations
Mhm.
by the government, so to speak, by the intelligence apparatus. And they can change anything they want. They can do anything they want. They can put fake number plates on the vehicles. They can use a vehicle, change their paint job tomorrow. They can, I mean, there's all manner of ways they can disguise themselves so that no one can know exactly who they are. But
Mm.
if we can find out why are uh, people tortured bodies being found in Yala.
Mm.
If we can come up, for now, I can tell you that I don't know why this is happening. There is speculation out there as to why. If we
Or
can
is it
find out,
is it that is it what do you mean there is speculation now to why these bodies are happening? Somebody is killing other Kenyans. You are still saying that You don't know why this thing is happening.
I don't know why they're being killed.
You don't know why people are being killed in Kenya?
We can speculate, but we don't have proof.
No.
If
We
if
okay.
somebody
We saw the
puts
other
you
day. We saw the other day.
Mzalendo,
No. We saw the other
Mzalendo,
day.
if
Jeremy, just
somebody
wait.
puts you
Wait
to
a minute.
task, hmm?
We have not even buried the other young fellow. What was his name? Albert.
Ojwang.
Albert is not
Yes,
buried yet.
yes,
Is not buried. They got him from his village.
yes,
Something went wrong. The script did not go well as planned. He was killed
exactly.
in a police cell.
But you see,
We
that one
wait.
is more
I will
strict
take you back.
cut and dry.
The president of the Republic of Kenya has admitted that there have been abductions and killings in Kenya. What else do you want to know?
You see, in the case of Ojwang specifically,
Mm,
it's cut and dry. He was picked up by the police.
mm,
He was last seen in the custody of the police.
mm,
His body was seen being dropped by the police. So it's very clear cut. You can point fingers at the police. What it will come out after the investigations and the legal tussle is why they did it, right? There are, you know, there is a reason why people uh, think that this happened to him because of what he posted online, yeah, which is in the public domain is the case. But you see, a legal case is a different story.
mhm,
Now, in the case of the bodies that are being found in Rivayala, we can't point fingers and say uh, who picked him up from home and they went with him where, and then next he's found in a police cell or in a hospital. People are picking bodies randomly, yeah, and that is where I come from saying there is, speculation as to why these people are being found, these bodies are being found. But we can't really point fingers, categorically and say this person was picked up by a police officer from Mawego Police Post, and then he was transported to Nairobi Central Police Station, and then next thing we know, he appears at Mbagathi Hospital dead. You see, so the Yala bodies that are being found, for me, and this is a big if the government really wanted to stop this, they would then first profile Mzalendo. You are in one of the best countries where investigations are done. And even if you watch TV programs or even if you watch documentaries, how serial killers are identified and actually even arrested. The first thing you do is you profile the victims and say, huyu amekufa ni nani, ule amekufa ni nani, what is the connection between these people, what is the commonality between these two people. Then once you have that, then you can build up a theory around why are these people. So if our government was serious, those bodies that were found, let them be identified. Huyu ni nani ni nani, huyu ni nani nani, huyu ni nani nani. Then they find out the commonality between all the bodies, then start going back. Wakikuja wapate, this is John Kariuki. John Kariuki is a youth from wherever. On Friday, he was in the demonstrations agitating for, justice for Albert in Nairobi. Or this other body is Peter Otieno. Peter Otieno, this guy, he was also in the demonstrations on Friday agitating for justice for Albert. Then you look, this one is Mutua Makau. Oh, Mutua Makau is so from this. Oh, and he was also in this demo. Then now you have a commonality. Then now you can say, now these people,
mm.
we are tying them to these demonstrations. Now, which means that whoever is killing them and is dumping them here has a reason, and that reason is probably because of their participation in the demonstrations. Let's look for who could be against this demonstration, then you work backwards. That is how you do it. But I can tell you for a fact, Mzalendo, that is probably not going to happen in Kenya now, in the current Kenya situation. But that's what we would need to do. Otherwise, everything else we are saying is largely speculation. Like I said, we can't. If somebody put you on the dock, Mzalendo, right now and say, okay, you are saying this is being done by so and so and so, can you show? Can you prove? Can you swear, an oath on this without you risking perjuring yourself? You would not agree to it.
All right.
What?
Let us also hear from Eric. So there is somebody here. Eric. Eric, I invited Eric to StreamYard so that he can share some of his view. Eric, vipi bana?
Yeah, salama, salama. Sorry, I'm a late entrant. I was doing some yard work.
No, no,
Uh,
no, no, no. It is okay. In fact, I didn't give you. I didn't tell you in advance that we might be having a show this
okay.
evening. But anyway, you made time. We are just talking about our country today.
Mm-hmm.
They discovered some bodies in Rivayala and many other stories that are coming up. Yeah, they discovered more bodies, about 10 bodies in Rivayala. So
Mm-hmm.
we're
Mm-hmm.
just venting our anger towards the government and its complicity. You know, and I don't know what is your opinion about these issues.
Yeah,
These
that is
these are
exactly.
mm,
Yeah, yeah. Sorry to cut you off. It's actually shocking. I was also reading the same in the morning about the Rivayala body. So then uh, it came to mind that there's some people from last year's June 24th protest that they were never found.
mhm.
So then you put 1 plus 1, and then you can actually say that maybe some of those people that are still missing are the ones that have been found, in Rivayala. So it's something that we, it's we this current government keeps on claiming that no, that is the previous government that was actually, dumping bodies in Rivayala. So it seems it's the same people. The
Mhm.
same people that were in the previous government that were doing that is the same people that are currently running the show at this time. Um, it begs the question: do we have really rule of law in Kenya? We keep on saying that Kenya, there is freedom of association, freedom of assembly. Or then it comes to things like this, and you start asking yourself, yes, you can speak, but is there freedom after speech? And it's really critical that we need to we need to look inside and uh, and now decide what kind of leaders do we want to lead the country. Because when I see recently, I don't know if you saw how the former CS was greeted at the airport, and you ask yourself, do these people really have that short of a memory to forget that this man was also part of that system that was involved in disappearances and bodies found in Rivayala. Yet
Mm.
right now, the people that are putting him on a pedestal to become the next president of Kenya. So we are not really serious if we want to fix this country. That is my thoughts on these things. Yeah.
Wow, you are spot on. I mean, and you put it in the best way possible. That look at a scenario where people are embracing now Matiangi. Matiangi was one of the guys who was being accused of extrajudicial killings and dumping of bodies in Siaya while he was the interior minister. But I think we have come to a place where we don't care anymore of who becomes our president, but we only want to change the current president to something else. and we need to be careful with that kind of move, because we might get another dictator coming into government, and could be even worse than William Ruto. Mm? Boni, sorry for hijacking your show.
No.
Endelea.
Continue. I'm just this is
No,
interesting
no.
conversation.
You might you are so quiet, so I'm wondering
No,
why
I
you.
also wanted to contribute about this. So
Yeah.
also
Mm?
about the Yala. No, you are the host of the show. About Yala. About Yala, what I think about that incident, I think these are the kind of things that will influence William Ruto being re-elected in 2027. I don't think whether Kenyans will vote for him in 2027 because a lot of abductions, killings are happening during the first term. And I was not there during the Moise era, but I used to hear that these things used to happen. Gen Z did not vote. A lot of people did not vote in 2022. So I think also 2027 we are going to see a lot of Kenyans coming out and registering to vote for their favorite leader. But the question is now, who is going to be voted by the Kenyans? Because still we have not identified someone who can represent the country. Raila is not there. Personally, I was going to support Raila if he was there, but now he has said, let me betray Kenyans. He joined the government that Kenyans are fighting so that it can be eliminated. So I don't think whether Raila Ruto will be in the ballot 2027. It's going to be a one term, same way Gachagua is saying. Because now, if someone maybe he was in the protest and now he or she found in the River Yala, what does that say? That there's no room to express yourself. Yeah.
Yeah, I agree with you that we have we don't tolerate any kind of opposition. But again, look at the point that Eric has brought, and at this juncture, I would want Jeremy to come in and tell me what he feels about the current presidential candidates that have been lined up uh, for for 2027. We have Maraga, we have Matiangi, we have Gashagwa has also insisted that he wants. Gashagwa is also in the ballot, not insisted. Gashagwa is also in the ballot. So I don't know what you feel about these particular candidates. Yeah, Jeremy.
Uh, this is my position.
Mm-hmm.
First, the elections are almost like 2 years away from now.
Mm.
Yeah.
Yes.
So there's a lot that can shift. There's a lot that can change. But if if you were to go into it today
Yes.
with the lineups as they are,
Mm.
with Ruto coming back as the incumbent,
Mm.
okay, I'm still very hesitant to put Gashagwa onto the lineup because legally,
Mm.
I don't think he's going to be there unless really something changes. But I don't see anything that will change that will then allow him to 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 vie, because even after the courts ruled that he was not properly impeached, the impeachment still stands and
Mm.
he still stands impeached. Okay.
Mm.
So I'm not very quick to put him in the lineup. We'll see. But yes, we have his party. We'll see who his party will front, as their flag bearer. Matiangi, if you asked me, just like you said, all of these
Mm.
things we are crying about, the extrajudicial killings and bodies being found all over the place in River Yala, started with him.
Mm.
Before Uhuru, no one was really dumping bodies in Rivayala. It started when Matiang'i was CS Interior. So putting him in, for me, is not the solution. We're just changing one, bad person for another.
No, we are just
Maraga,
changing.
Maraga, I don't take him seriously. He's a good person. I don't take him seriously, and I don't really understand what would what is making him jump into the political playing field. But you know very well that even his time when he was CJ, he said he's not a politician, he's not going to play politics he's going to run the judiciary, he's not going to play politics, and he never did. What makes him jump into the political fray now, I don't understand very well. But even if I look at him, his body language, and I'm not really taking him seriously. But in the event that he makes it to the ballot, we might see a little bit of change if he makes it to State House. Then the other grouping, Kina Morara and the rest, they started off well, but you all know that Morara was bought after he started doing his Vampire Diaries. At the very beginning, walimshika wakampeleka ndani, akadisappear for almost a week. When he came back, his tune was different, so you'd not trust him, and that's why he had differences with Kina Makure and this Somali lady and everyone else. And then he went and started this party, that inject Kenya and all. They could be a decoy, right, to divide votes. Now, so for him, I don't take him seriously. The icing on my statement
is Morara vying, first of all?
Yeah, he has a party. They have the Inject party, and he's the party leader, and he's going to vie on that. At least as for what I know now, is the intent that he's going to vie. He's going to be a presidential candidate.
All right.
Yeah. So
yes.
Then, let me just finish, and then I do not see whether hook or crook. I don't see a pathway for somebody beating Ruto. If the votes are fair and the counting matters, which will not happen, then maybe somebody might get more votes than him. But at the end of the day, it's not he who votes that matters, but he who counts the votes. And we've seen what's happening with the IEBC selection, the commissioners. You've seen, it's all out there. You only need to connect the dots. He's already played his game. His game is done. Those guys are there to just finish the game. The people that were selected in the IEBC commission, ni watu wake. He's already set his commission up the way he wants it. So mtu asikudanganye ati no matter how many Gen Zs will go out and vote, ati IEBC itapatia mtu mwingine certificate. Forget it. I said it before, but I stand, vindicated by the selection of the commissioners up to end. Most importantly, the chair of the commissioner. He is the one who is the national returning officer, who is the one who will award the certificate, is the one who will announce the winner, and who will be responsible for determining who wins. This guy has played his game so far away from the day of the election. So our to water from the lineup, I don't think I really see somebody who's very serious about beating Ruto. I don't see. Kwa hiyo lineup yote nimesoma, I don't see.
Wow.
I've got a question. How about someone like Okiya Mutata? I think he ticks all the boxes when it comes to rule of law, fighting for justice. He's he's someone that is incorruptible, if I can put it that way. And
Absolutely.
if we're really looking for someone that can transform the country, and someone who is a stickler to the law, then I think he ticks all the boxes. Obviously, we cannot say that he's he's beyond reproach, but if we're really serious about having someone that can actually turn this ship around, he's someone that ticks all the boxes. The question is
Absolutely.
that are people going to support him? How the mentality back home works. That what does he bring to the table? It's like, oh, this is a tribal kingpin. He's a tribal kingpin. How many votes does he bring from his region? Now that kind of politics is the one that brings the country down. And if we are serious about change, if we're talking about change and having someone that can actually bring that kind of change, I think it ticks all the boxes. And just let me add, when it comes to the selection of the commissioners and the chairperson, even this the opposition parties, as Azimio, as it was called, they're even responsible for if the will of the people is subverted, because were they not part of the selection process? How comes the people that were pushed forward to be selected by the parliament, Azimio had a hand in choosing them? So if the will of the people is subverted, later on they cannot cry, a wolf, that no, the election has been stolen, and they were part and parcel of selecting these people. So that shows that the seriousness was not even there in the first place, because what was agreed in that, what was it called, NADCO, that was agreed, that Azimio, they will choose someone, part of the selection panel, to select the commissioners, and
the
then
religious leadership was represented.
Yes. So religious leaders were represented. So we cannot come around and say, oh, the electoral commission is compromised. Yet we are the ones that put people in there to select the same people that we now claiming that they are compromised.
Exactly.
You see? Go ahead. Sorry.
And that's the point I was trying to drive home, that Ruto has started playing his stealing of the vote this far off from the date of the election. And he's compromised all of those, like the political parties, religious sect, and all of those that were part of the panel that was selecting the commissioners. So if you can get his way with them now, what makes you think on the biggest stage he won't get his way? If he's already got them to get him his people that he wants into the commission, up to end, including and most importantly the chair of the commission, what makes you think that when the day comes that sasa tuseme nani ameshinda, they won't play along? And that is the problem. That is the sad state of where we are as a country. But that's the truth.
Yeah, you're very, very, very right there. And there's this talk that come election day, people should, you remember that time when I think it was 2017 when Uhuru was saying that no one should stay behind. After you vote, you need to leave and go home. People are saying that this time around, people need to stay, keep your phones, take those results, because the Constitution says what? The results are declared at the polling station. This thing of centralized, that there is a returning officer. There's nothing in the law that says the chairperson of IBC is the returning officer. The election is supposed to be decided at the polling station. So the youths are saying that this time around, everyone, the same way that they go to the demonstration with cell phones and take pictures of all the results, they will count and we'll also count. So that we this manipulation that the streaming of the results beforehand, before the even electoral commission tries to manipulate, because the problem with Kenyan election is not the voting, it's the counting. That's where the mischief starts. That's where the stealing of the votes, when this transmission and people are going through back end systems to get into the server and inflate the votes. That's where it happens. But at the polling station, that is where the actual results is, and that is where people are supposed to now ensure that that the votes that are there are the votes that are actually going to be announced. Come if Bomas of Kenya will be still there, because I hear Ruto plans to sell the place. That's another story of another day. So that is what people are saying, and I think that's a good idea. Some of the issues that costed Azimio this previous election was, I don't know how true that was, that there was no in polling stations, there's polling stations that there were no Azimio, what are they called?
Agents.
Yes, they were not there. How do you expect that? Even if it's Ruto's stronghold, still there need to be someone from Azimio to ensure that the numbers that are being put on that and that form there, it's the correct numbers. So that thinking that the system is behind Azimio is what costed Azimio the election, because some of those numbers were being cooked because there was no people from Azimio to verify what's being counted there.
Oh, all right, Eric, you are right. According to Maina Kiai's ruling, when Maraga nullified the elections, he said that elections are supposed to be counted at the ballot station. The issue of transporting, I don't know, forms to Nairobi, I have no idea why forms ought to be declared in Nairobi. I think if the elections results, by the time you are leaving, the polling station, by if you are guarding your ballot, by the time your agent is leaving the polling station, you should know your results as a candidate, and that is what happens countrywide or worldwide, unless you are in a different country like Kenya, where the results of the presidency is so special that it has to be announced somewhere else. Even at ward level, you would know how many votes Raila Odinga got in a particular polling station, if you are keen enough to wait for the polling clerk to count the votes, because they have to count them there. The votes are never counted at Bomas. The votes are counted at each and every ward. Now, my greatest fear, Eric and Jeremy, when it comes to election transmission, is that yes, you might have all these gadgets, all these electronics that you are talking about, but if the internet will be shut down, because there is a bill that is coming up in Parliament, and I don't know whether it has already been um, assented to by the president to become law. Uh, the Data Regulation Bill 2025. That bill is geared. There are some details about it that we are not being told, but the final details is that what they are telling us as an overview is that the government can may request to know how you've been using your data for the last 1 year. So, for example, Eric, you can get a call and say, hey, we want to know how you've been using your data for the last so many years, for the last 1 year. That is a way of trying to gag the voice of the people. As much as we want to regulate the media, there is the freedom of expression and freedom of speech that is within the constitution. So then, so long as we exercise it responsibly, like we are doing it here, then I don't think that the government ought to be looking for us and trying to curtail our freedom. So the internet might be shut on that particular day of the election. This election is very contentious, and Ruto might go all the way. As I've seen him saying that, at one point he said that hizo kura watazijaza na kama zitoshi watajaza. Hmm? That statement. That statement. I wish you could. I could play for you that video. And he
That
said that
was true.
yeah. You
That
had
was
you
true.
Uliona.
Yes, I saw it.
Yes. It was Oscar Sudi that was standing up in public and saying the same that zisipotosha tutajaza tu.
Yeah,
Mm.
ispotosha tutajaza tu. And then he realized that he had done a mistake. Then he said, tutajaza na kura ze. So zile zisipotosha zitatolewa wapi? Kana zijajaa. Eh?
Mm.
Ispotosha tutajaza. That statement is something that should worry each and everybody. Yeah.
So,
Yes.
Mzalendo, this is something I've said it, and I'm going to stand by this until after the elections.
Hmm.
God bless me to live to see it happen, because I know it's what's going to happen. One,
Mm-hmm.
I do not foresee a scenario where Ruto, knowing him and his propensity to violence
Mm.
and how much he has fought to get to be presidency, that anaweza toka
Mm.
on one Sunday morning aende Kasarani
Mm.
achukue kisu apatie mtu atoke hapo as a civilian ati ameshindwa. In my wildest dreams I don't see anything like that happening. That is one. Two, the way he will make this happen is that, he will steal, and he will steal. Hata kama mnakaa hivi aje, he will steal. All he needs to do, okay,
Mm.
is make sure that one, IEBC mtangaze as the winner. Regardless of what Gen Zs have done, by law, only the Electoral Commission is allowed to announce the winner and certify the winner.
Mm.
Everyone else ukitokea na namba zako, it's actually criminal offense. You can even go to jail for it. Kama IBC nasema Ruto has 200 votes,
Mm-hmm.
Maraga has 10 votes,
Mm.
Matiang'i has 0 votes, na wewe unakuja unasema Ruto has 0, Matiang'i has 1 million, Maraga has 1,000,002. You can actually go to jail for it. It's a criminal offense. Okay? But
Mm-hmm.
by law, whatever IBC says is what holds the day. So all Ruto needs to do is ensure that one, regardless of what has transpired, IBC announces him as the winner.
Mm-hmm.
Two, ensure that IBC gives him the winner certificate. Mpigane. We know his propensity for violence. He knows Kenyan politics. Those Kenyans watapigana after a month, 2 months, watu watachana hiyo kelele. People want to go on with their lives. Mtapigana, mtanini, then eventually, like what happened with the government of national unity, then the international community will step in, okay, to try and help, because they can't overthrow him. Once IB announces him, he's the president. So
All right.
then
Jeremy,
he will just give a condition.
Mm-hmm.
He will just give a condition to anyone who's coming to make peace and tell them, you guys, the body that is, that is authorized by by law to announce the winner has announced me. I have the certificate. So if you guys are coming in to make peace between me and whoever else, the condition I have is that as you're coming in, you have to first recognize that I am the elected president. Whoever is coming is trying to take my seat away from me. Then let's go from there. When it gets to there, he will just say, fine, I'm okay with it. I'm willing to share my government with someone else. Akuje. Then I will agree to some sort of, power sharing deal, and he continues. For me, that is the best case scenario for Kenya out of Ruto's second term. Ya kutoa Ruto completely, sioni.
Hauoni kabisa?
I don't see it. I don't see it.
Wacha nisome comment moja kutoka kwa huyu mwanadada Joyce is not buying any of those things that you're saying. I am 30 years old. All I can see Ruto and his people wakwende huko, kwani who do they think they are? Kwani yeye ndio who? Akwende huko, we will all die, and death should not be used as a political advantage. Joyce definitely is a pissed off Kenyan citizen. For people like Joyce, Eric, what can you advise them? Because she's young, she's only 30 years old, and probably maybe Joyce, I believe you will be voting for maybe your second or first time in Kenya, or we are just ranting in social media while we are not going to participate in the next election. So this election is so important. The 2027 election is very, very important. But for the young people, the Gen Zs, to transition into power, they need to be more strategic than some of us were many years ago. But so far, the Gen Zs seem to be the real opposition in Kenya. Eric, what do you feel about this?
Yeah, what I can advise the lady is, yeah, your vote is powerful. That one vote of yours can make a difference. So, yes, vent online, but make sure you register as a voter and make sure you vote. Make sure you the same way that you agitating online, uh, influence other people of your age group to come out and vote, because um, as the previous speaker said, the previous election, a lot of youths never voted. Um, it's about I think about 9 million people never went to the polling station and never voted. And this time around, come 2027, there's even a huge number of people that will be of voting age come 2027. So they are the ones that are going to be the change makers, or the difference when it comes to this coming election. And the only way for your voice to be heard is for you to stand up and go vote. Otherwise, all else will be just hot air, if I can call it that way.
Yeah, very, 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 very true. Very, very true. And Eric, you've been into democracies like South Africa, where you stayed for so many years. Uh, do you think South Africans have this similar problem that we have in Kenya?
Not really. I was since I went to South Africa. I've been there through how many elections? I think about 4 elections. Um, the the electoral commission in South Africa, they're actually very, very they I can say they're genuine, and it's very difficult to manipulate elections in South Africa. And you could actually not even know that there's elections. You know how in Kenya election is
Yeah, it's a fake
electioneering
thing.
period.
Yes.
Yeah, it's like life or death or something
Yeah,
like that.
people running around with
No, no,
yes.
and the rules, the way in Kenya you find there's posters all over. The next day, posters are pasted on the on buildings, and no, it's not allowed. It's not allowed there. You take your poster, and after the election, you given like 2 days. Your poster needs to come down. Otherwise, there's a huge fine.
Yeah, there's a law. It's only
Yeah,
that
there's a
it's not
law in
being
South
followed.
Africa. You put up your poster after the
Mhm.
election, 2 days. You're given 2 days. All your posters need to come down.
We have a similar law, Eric. If you didn't know,
Yeah.
we have a similar law in Kenya. It is not even after election. After the campaign period is over, that's
Yes.
it. That is it.
Mm-hmm.
So you are not supposed to wear campaign T-shirts. You are not supposed to conduct any rallies and all that. But what I'm saying is that is the way we see South Africa being projected in the media, the way we see Malema campaigning and talking, is the situation on the ground similar like what you see Gachagua and his team doing right now towards the elections, or is it that they hold town hall meetings, or how does it really happen?
They also actually do the same. It's called imbizos,
Yes.
whereby they go, as towns to towns, to talk about, obviously to talk about the policies of the or whatever party that they're representing. They also have town hall meetings, and I've seen that a lot, especially in Cape Town area, because I was in Western Cape. So the politics there is kind of different because ANC is not so big in Western Cape. It's mostly the Democratic Party, and that's a white party, so they kind of hold their electoral campaigns very different. And you go to a polling station,
Hmm.
and there's like a tent for ANC here. There's a tent for EFF here. There's a tent of Democratic Party there. So there's that festive kind of carnival.
Oh,
Um,
it's a kind of carnival. There's no
yes,
fighting.
no
There's no
fighting, and yeah,
fight.
this fight. I at that time I took someone to vote.
Yes.
The polling station, you could not. I was like, "Is this are people voting here?" Said, "Yeah, people are voting here. You won't even know that there's voting going on here.
It is quiet. You go
It is
in, you
quiet.
come out.
Yeah, you just
Yeah.
go do your thing there. You vote, and then you leave. In all this
Wow.
fracas that we see in Kenya, like that, it's not there. There is obviously the political violence is there in South Africa, especially if you go to KZN, KwaZulu Natal. It is there,
Hmm.
but that does not happen during election time.
Wow.
That is
Wow.
just some parties between themselves. Obviously politics comes. It's always dirty. Even in America here, politics is dirty. So
Hmm.
it does
Yeah,
happen
yeah,
there,
yeah.
but it doesn't go. It doesn't get to the level of
Of
how
physical,
Kenya is. Yeah.
yeah, physical fighting.
Hmm.
Now, sorry to interrupt you. Now, Jeremy, you've been quiet for some time. I want to take you back to the Gen Zs, the political landscape that is changing. The Gen Z's wave. Yeah, in 2024, the Gen Z's pushed the government to reform until the president changed his whole cabinet, until he dropped the finance budget. What do you think that what is the game plan of these young people, and are they able to shake the president in 2027? Remember, they have already pushed the government and Ruto's government to the wall until they did what they really wanted. Even in the case of Albert Ojuang, you've seen how they have pushed more than any other political party in Kenya. I think these young people have achieved a lot in a short period, more than even the opposition achieved in 30 years. What is your take in that?
A couple of points. One, the Gen Z movement, as it were, at the very beginning, the first two demonstrations that they did in June 2024, that was June 22nd and June 23rd.
Yeah.
Those ones were very, very powerful. Come June 25th, the government had already infiltrated them and started to make them almost implode. That is one thing that happened. Two, something that worked for the Gen Z in those first 2 days of the demonstration was how amorphous they were. They were saying tribeless, leaderless. That worked for them in terms of agitating for what they wanted, but that comes as an Achilles heel for them in terms of, putting themselves, putting structures, putting, leadership and everything, because you need those if you want to have, administrative and legislative, impact. You have to be structured in a certain manner. So that worked for them, the fact that they were very amorphous in the first 2 days. But then you see, when they started to take more of a formal shape, internally they started having the wrangles of who is the leader. Is it Morara? Is it Makure? Was it Gachagua and who? And we've seen how that really turned out to be what made them really lose a lot of the impact they had. Now, currently, as we are in what's going on, there's this demonstration that's coming up on Wednesday. The Gen Z is just a brand, okay? But all of those people that were supposedly be the leaders of the Gen Z are into other outfits. Makure has gone to ODM. Kebaso has gone to Inject Kenya. That Somali lady has, gone the way of what's his name, Matiang'i.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
So what's going to happen? How are they going to be, a formal grouping that can impact change? That is what will make some change. Another thing that has to happen, and I was reading an article from somebody else just yesterday on Friday, who was having a conversation with a Gen Z, right? And the Gen Z was passionate about Ruto must go, Ruto must go, Ruto must go. Then he asked the Gen Z, okay, so where are you from? And the Gen Z said he was from, I think, one of those constituencies in Kisii. Then he asked the Gen Z, who is your MP? The Gen Z had no idea. Who is your MCA? The Gen Z had no idea. Then said, okay, fine. Let me ask you where you're staying. Where are you staying? I'm staying in Roysambu. Okay. Which constituency are you? Gen Z has no idea. Who is your MP? Gen Z has no idea. Who's your MCA? Gen Z has no idea. And he said that's a lost cause. So these Gen Zs, the point I'm trying to make is these Gen Zs, it is well that they can go out and agitate for whatever changes they want in the basing on the mob psychology and go and Ruto must go and everyone goes that and be brave and all. But what matters is, will they understand and be ready and be prepared to go out and vote? That's what matters. If they will agree to go out and vote. If they come out and vote, there will be some impact. And if they can vote with one voice, which at this point I'm not sure that's what's going to happen. But if they would go out and vote the way they did on 23rd, 24th June 2024, then yeah, Ruto should be ready for for a run, before he gets back to to business as usual. So for me, as far as the Gen Zs goes, one, wakuwe tayari kupiga kura, and know that what matters is the vote. You remove a sitting president through the vote, not through Ruto must go. It has never happened anywhere.
You remove a sitting president through the vote, not through Ruto must go. It has never happened anywhere. Nyakairo. Oh, oh my God! I know Kenya Maandamano Kamili. You know that name is quite. I don't know how to pronounce it, but karibu sana to the show. Welcome once again. Uh, Eric, you've heard what Jeremy has said that okay, the Gen Zs have got the numbers, but they are not aware of their leaders, even at the grassroots level. One thing I can tell you, Jeremy, is that this is the 8 million Kenyans that didn't participate in the elections. These are the people who don't go for election. They don't even go to the ballot. They don't even care. But for the first time, they are now aware that it is important to vote, and that is why they are participating in the decision making. So the kind of awareness is taking us by surprise, but at the same time, it's a good thing that they are coming together. The only thing that you're also urging them is to have some kind of organization uh, before 2027. Eric, what is your take before I invite Nyaikuru?
My take is that the Gen Zs, I think they in their thoughts process, the only way they can make a change in the country is by changing at the top. They might not know who their MCA is, because maybe in their thought process they think, what kind of impact would an MCA do? When it comes to that saying where it says the fish rots from the head. So if you want to make meaningful change, I think in the eyes of the Gen Zs, is the top person must go. So yes, they need a lot more civic education when it comes to politics and what kind of impact their vote has. But for me, I think the end justifies the means. If they say Ruto must go and they translate that into votes, yeah, then be it. Then let them push and let him go. Yeah, that's my take.
All right, thank you, Eric. Kenya Maandamano Kamili. This is one lady that we respect her opinion, and she's been following the politics very, very, very keenly, right from the time when we were betrayed, when they were betrayed by Raila Odinga, to the time that we are now here where we are. Maandamano Kamili, can you please introduce yourself and tell us what is your latest opinion about the political scenario? We have seen the Gen Zs are planning the next demonstration on 25th, the mask demonstration, which they say it's going to be big and bigger than any other demonstrations that they have had. So karibu sana na utusalimie.
Thank you Mzalendo, nasalimia Jeremia and Eric. Habari zenu. watu wa comment section. I say hello, and to every Kenyan, whichever corner they are in. Now, I heard Jeremiah say that one guy was being asked the questions, who is your MP, who is your MCA? Do you know, people, when they live in their country and they have not faced a big impact of a problem that is now like what we have right now in Kenya, they may stay away from involving, because it's not a must I should know everybody. It's me living in my country, doing what I always do and getting what I always get. But when the impact comes, that the life you are living, it has come and hit even to your own house. It has affected even your own way of living. You wake up and then you start looking around. What is happening? What is going on? It's like how you'd go and find somebody very comfortable somewhere, closed his eyes, relaxing, and then umpige ngumi. Huyo mtu ataamka akuulize, umenipigia ngumi kwa nini? Nimekufanyia nini? That is how now Kenya is. So for those people who had been reluctant and feeling like life is just the way we are, and now things have changed to the worst, that is now when people start fighting for their life. Kwa hivyo kukosa kujua MP wako ni gani ama MCA wako ni gani, it has nothing to do with that you don't know anything. People have come to learn that things are not good because it has gone all the way to their own house, that you cannot afford a meal, you cannot afford take your child to school. If somebody is sick, you are crying, you are looking for money from friends, and then your friends don't have. That is the impact that the country has faced. So people have woken up. Gen Z, they know what they are talking about because they are the most who have been very much affected somehow, because some have graduated. They have nothing to do. They have graduated. They don't see their life, their future. So when you say they don't know their MP, it is not a must we should know our MP. The development is not a favor from the government. It's something that should happen without me agitating for it. So for me, I take that this time round, watu wajikaze, wachukue ID, wachukue voting cards, wawe tayari. That is the only weapon this time we can use, because we have seen that we are not given a space to breathe. We are just left like orphans, and that is exactly what it is. Sababu hata rais mwenyewe hana haja na Kenya, hana haja na Kenyans. Ameanza kutoa maneno ingine hapo, he will not hand over the power as if he was given permanently. That's unusual. You cannot boast yourself knowing that the power belongs to the people, instead of bending low or begging for time, let me do this, I'll do this, or even do the promises you have promised. You coming boasting that I will not give power to anybody. That is anarchist, and we cannot accept that. Na hii mambo yote inatokana na mtu mmoja ambaye amepoison akili za watu wengine wale wamemfuata mpaka wakawa sasa that's a charm, and they feel they cannot let the power go to anybody else simply because they know they have messed the country, they know they are not safe, they know they have lost the relationship with the people, and so now the only thing that remains is to use kifua. You cannot do that, and it will not happen. So my take is Gen Z are working so hard, and I support them 100%. And we are looking forward to win this war, for us to have our country back, because our country has been shredded to small pieces of dirt. So I believe things are going to work for Kenyans, is that they have woken up and they have realized that this is the right guy who should lead our country. We have never been led the way this time round is, and we are not going to accept. Constitution was thrown under the table. It has never worked with this kind of regime. So I'm looking forward to see a new government which will take care of the country and us inhabitants for the better. Thank you.
Yeah, thank you. Thank you very much for that opening submission. Now, let's just shift gears and get into the broad-based government a bit before we wind up. Now, Kenya is experiencing an experimental broad-based government. Ministers and allies of rival camps, UDA and ODM, have joined, and some Jubilee members are under the same roof and called broad-based government. Is this a national unity project or just a clever realignment to silence the voices? Jeremy, from your perspective, does this model promote inclusivity and healing after after going through all that after the protest of Gen Zs?
Thank you, Zalendo. Before I answer that, maybe I just give some clarification to Nyakairu. Nyakairu, election is not an event. It's a process. Okay? So when I brought out the story of Gen Zs not understanding the structural leadership of their political representation, what it means, the point that we should take out of that is that they are not aware of the political or administrative structures. And if they are not aware, that means they probably are not attached, they are detached from that. And if they're detached from that, that means on the day that they are voting, either one, they'll find themselves without a voter's card, or two, they'll just be going there and just voting for anyone, vote for the right person for president, but vote for the wrong people in the other leadership positions. So the point out of that explanation was just the detachment or unawareness of the political structures that be, for in Kenya. So that was just something I need to clarify. But moving forward, Zalendo, this broad-based government thing, it's not anchored in any law. Okay? There is no law in Kenya that allows for such an arrangement. In some cases, for example, the case of the Government of National Unity, which again was not provided for in our law, but we entrenched it as a national consensus that it was necessary for us to walk out of the tunnel of the post-election violence of 2007 and have a united country. What we have currently is a partnership of convenience for the involved parties. Okay? And the intent is not to silence the voices of the people. The intent is to maintain the status quo so they can continue feeding their political desires. I say it's a partnership of convenience because for the government, having the top opposition leadership in the name of ODM joining them, help them to cool down the temperatures, help them to quell the pressure that was coming from the demonstrations that the demonstrations that were happening at that time. That's a benefit for them, and that benefit carries on, and they hope it carries on up to 2027. For the opposition brigade, they've gotten themselves into the positions where they are also eating. They are in government. They have CSS, they have PSS, they have heads of government departments, and and parastatals and all. They are feeding their cronies. The leadership of that particular party is feeding his cronies, so they are okay. To me, that is the extent of the broad-based government. It's a relationship of convenience between the government and the the opposition political outfit at that time, and it's nothing more than that. And if at any one point one of them will be dissatisfied with the relationship, trust me, they will walk out very fast. Okay, it's an illegality. It's not anchored in any law, but it is what it is. It is what there's very little anyone can do except to wait to do the necessary at the ballot in 2027. The Gen Z, it is very ironic, Nyakairu, that as I'm a millennial, okay, and it's interesting that we're waiting for the Gen Zs to be our liberators now, but we are not giving them the wisdom of the multiple. My first vote was in 1997. That was the first time I voted, and I voted for every other election up to now. What we need to let our Gen Zs know is you can demonstrate, you can protest and everything, but if you don't go and vote, all that is null and void. The most important thing is to go and vote. And like it's picking up steam right now, just don't carry your voter's card and your ID to the polling station. Carry with you a valid, working, competent, emotionless brain as well when you're going to vote. Usiende kupiga kura na emotions. Make your decision without emotions way before ukienda. Ukifika kwa ballot box, you have made a sane decision of who you're voting for. Usiende kupiga kura na emotions, but the rider there, don't leave your brain at home when you're going to vote in 2027.
I think most people vote with, you're rather being sarcastic. Most people vote with their brain, and
No.
any process is about interest. Even that person who is going to vote is voting because some of them have been given some kind of money, and that was their interest at that particular time. But what we need to emphasize is that what you have said, that your vote carries everything. Your vote carries the education. Your vote carries employment. Your vote carries almost your life. So it is important to know the reason why you are going to vote. So most importantly, unaenda kupiga kura na unaenda kupiga kura sababu gani? Uh, I think that is what we need to emphasize a lot to most of the people who are going to participate in the next general elections. But now, from the kind of politicians that we have seen lining up, we don't even we are even confused because most of them have been in government and they are trying to replace the same. If you look at Kalonzo Musyoka, he has been in all the successive governments and he wants now to be the president of the Republic of Kenya. What do you make of this? Even before I invite uh, Darius, I would like to ask Eric this particular question, that this guy has been in the system even when the system was very, very bad. He didn't even utter a word about the rotten system in Moi's government. Then he came to Kibaki's government. Then he was now again in in the opposition in Uhuru's legacy. What do you think Kalonzo Musyoka and the rest of the brigade who have been in the system for so long can offer Kenyans that is so different from what Ruto is doing?
Yeah, that's a good question. With Kalonzo, he's been in the system for so long that it's not really an alternative to what we currently have. I don't know, at times people talk about lesser of the two evils. If you put the two of them together, Ruto versus Kalonzo. So, and obviously the people that are behind him, they're part of the system. And I like what Okia keeps on talking about, that we should move beyond Ruto must go and actually think about changing the system. Because the system, if we do not change the system, we'll continue having the likes of Ruto, ad infinitum, consistently. So the system needs to change. What Kalonzo brings to the table is not really much. It's just, I can only say that him being a seasoned politician, and he doesn't have a lot of skeletons in the closet like most of his colleagues there in that grouping. So he's not going to bring much in terms of changing if the lineup is still the same. But I think my opinion is that he can be a much better president than Ruto. That I can say for certain.
Wow, okay. Thank you very much for your opinion. Dari Puzo, karibu sana Africa 24, na utusalimie na tuambie umepotea wapi. We are just recapping of what has been happening in the political scene, and I know you've got a lot to say to the Kenyan public. Karibu sana.
Can I say something before Dario?
Oh, I'm about to go. Okay.
Dari, you can let's give the lady wants to say something before you come in. Cairo,
Sure.
go ahead.
Thank you, Dario, for giving me the chance. I wanted to add something on what Jeremiah said about Gen Z not having wisdom or voting with emotions. I believe by now they have known the betrayers. The guys you mentioned, that is Makaure and Kebaso. Those guys, I think they were threatened in some ways, and one of them was excited due to whatever he was promised. I don't think these two guys left the Gen Z because they found wisdom anywhere. It's just because there were so many things going on in their life. Remember that Kebaso was threatened about his taxes. He had to pay a lot of money. Maybe they said, "We are going to withdraw that if you stop doing what you are doing." Makaure went to Raila. Did he go there because of wisdom? There is no wisdom there, because I don't see where wisdom can come from Raila, who had done what he did. Because the man was told by the Gen Z, "Stay home, this is our job, we'll do it, we love you, and just give us this moment." What did he do? He jumped in. He didn't let them agitate for the problems that they were facing. And Raila was told to relax because they are going to fight for themselves. However, in back of their mind, they know Raila is together with them. So these three people, Raila, Makauri, and Kebaso, I'll put them in one basket and say they are betrayers. And so Gen Z, when they united and you see these enormous protests that people did not believe in the whole country, what didn't they do? They did everything. It's only that weapons were used, and they were not using weapons. And what do you do with somebody with the weapon, and you are standing there with water and your phone and the umbrella, the bandera? Nothing. You'll be killed, and many were killed. So there was no wisdom they were looking for, because already the wisdom holder whom they thought, presumably, they thought this is a good man. They never thought he would betray people the way he did. He's already in government. Right now, what can we get from Raila? Nothing. Because even what he's talking is against the whole country. The whole country is suffering, but he is supporting the bad things that this regime is doing. What wisdom is that? We were told that an old man can see far than a boy up in the tree. It doesn't even go that way. It is the other way around. Gen Z could see far, but the old man could not see far. I feel very saddened because of the situation which Raila would have saved or would have let people fight while he was not included or involved. But now he went right to the people who are offending people in Kenya, and he is ready to stay. It's not soon that he's going to get out of there. He is so much interested with it. He even the other day said that JKIA is taking risk, not accepting a done deal, knowing in our minds that he had said a done deal was not a good thing. He's really confused, and he's not a man to follow or even listen. So for those other two guys, Kembaso and Makaure, they are not people we should follow. They are failure. They are failed of what they were showing people they can be. Hiyo mdomo waliongea ilikuwa wasikike, ndio waonekane wako na umati, ndio washikwe koo, wapewe kile watapewa, wakanyamaza. Because I don't think they moved to that step with no money transacted. Money is evil, and that is my take.
All right. Thank you very much. I think Darius is at work, but you'll join us. Thank you for that powerful submission once again about the issue of the Gen Zs. Somebody like Makoure, I understand, is in the US attending a conference. Is attending a conference that lasts for 6 weeks on leadership. So I'll give you the details of where Makoure is at the moment. He's here in the US is attending a conference on leadership. So for him, he might have been compromised. And just as I said, politics is about interest. And before Darius steps out again, let me give him a chance to say one or two. Dari, karibu.
Asante sana Mzalendo, pole. My phone is having issues. I was driving. I've said pull over. At least I say something. Mm-hmm. I could not hear the debate, so I'm sorry if I'm a bit behind. So wale wanijui, mimi naitwa Darius Dariopuzo, one of the only analysts who has always predicted the truth that comes out of the political scenario in Kenya. So to start with, I will tell you the way, to stay in the topic, the way Kenyans vote is a reflection of who we are. I have said this, I think a couple of months ago, before even people like you, Mzalendo, crossed over from whoever you were supporting. And I will tell you, we put emotions when we go to vote, and we end up choosing the wrong people. But that is a reflection of Kenyans. Me, I'm a Kenyan who has lived abroad. I have seen how Kenyans behave abroad. It is just the way they behave in the ballot box. You will find Kenyans abroad saying, me, I don't talk to Kenyans. Me, I don't associate with Kenyans. That is how they vote. You see, Kenya, ever since Moi, dramatically, I will call it dramatically because he was not chosen the first time he took over power. The way he accidentally found himself in power was a blessing to Kenya that we have never found again. Because we voted for Kibaki emotionally because we don't like Moi, not because he's good. Then when he was less than 2 years in the seat, he became the most tribal leader we have ever seen. He appointed a security council in Kenya that was speaking in the mother tongue when making decisions for the country. And people today, when they went ahead and took this son of Jomo Kenyatta as a presidential candidate straight from the head, emotionally again, to punish another person, not because he's bringing anything to the table, they started again complaining themselves. They started complaining after giving him a good 10 years of not just Mzalendo's life, even my life, 10 years of wastage. After wasting a good one, you know Kibaki, after that, when Uhuru was messing, they started saying Kibaki was good. And Kibaki is where Anglo-lism came from. Kibaki is where tribalism came from. Kibaki is where the first post-election violence came from. But we pretend we are blind. We always say Mzalendo is good when he is no longer there. That is who we are. Then, from there, this is how this man who is on the seat has come to power. Not because people liked him. We went again emotionally and said, we have to give this one because we have to punish ABC. And now we are here. So now today again, can you imagine these same Kenyans are trying to say Uhuru was good? This one is too bad. This is how we are. Can you imagine? You have to, when you're coming from the bathroom, you have to look at yourself. Imagine when you were born. Is this who I am? This is how we are, imagine, Kenyans. This is how we are. We have never, ever accepted leadership, not only the presidency. Start from your member of parliament. He will go to the village, find a couple of mamas in the church who are very poor, throw lesos at them and say, I will help you. They vote for him, he runs away. We vote emotionally. We have never look at England, look at UK. They vote for nobodies. They even voted for an Indian juzi. Kazi kimshinda, anasema mimi, I was for leadership. Hii kazi imenishinda nitatoka. Now we look at Ruto. Kazi imemshinda anasema 10 bila break. Yani, you will put up with this whether you like it or not. Imagine, that is what we are. We really need to take 2 steps back and ask ourselves, these emotions, now that we are at this age, I think most of the people on the panel are at a good age to start reflecting about their yesteryears and their children's life coming up now. Is it fair for me to be this selfish? Mpaka I destroy my kid's life. You have to think like that. Let me tell you why. I don't know what you guys were saying about Makoura. I just heard his name. I think that boy made a good decision. Let me tell you why. Makoure was in the forefront of Gen Z's calling press conference, putting his life on the line by going to talk to the police who are not trained. As you see, the one who shot Juzi Mtu, I can tell you for a fact he didn't even know he was shooting. He pulled the trigger without knowing. That is how untrained they are. So they can kill you anytime. So this boy was risking his life all this time. And when he sat down, when Makoure sat down, nobody has ever known when this boy sat down. The day that this now, all of a sudden, the saint called Gachagua said that if you find yourself in the streets tomorrow, we shall deal with you, like they will take your life away. This man said that the police will have to do what they do. We don't care. Makoure was found on camera running for his life to nation, and do you know what? It became the national satire. Everybody was laughing at him. A man who is fighting for Mzalendo, who is sitting comfortably, fighting for Jeremiah there, fighting for me. Now we are sitting watching him, almost losing his life, making cartoons of him, making memes, putting his face how he's running. He sat down and asked himself, what if I died that day, like this unfortunate death of Albert Ojwang? See, we are Kenyans, we'll cry for 2 weeks and move on. So this boy said, if you can't beat them, you join them, then fight them from inside. That is how we do now. Because Kenyans are never grateful. And it is even happening to this opposition guy. Raila has realized when he's old, the next thing that is closer to him now is the grave more than the power, because he's 80 years plus. In God's creation, when you are 80 years plus, your life is now you don't have very many years. So people are still sitting here and saying, we are expecting you, though we don't give you a chance, we are expecting you to go and put your life on the line there and fight for us. No, these people, they knew very well that Ruto was involved in Kiamba, that Ruto is involved in Wash Wash, that Ruto grabbed and was the first person to tear gas kids, and we had never seen such things, Bona. We were shocked. Kids can be tear gas. This man did. And then he comes to Kenyans and tells them, you people will play with your emotions. Vote for me, I will do good. And we do this knowing very well, unless a miracle happens, this man cannot do anything. But we still do it, and then we complain. So in short, what I'm saying, in a layman's language, we are perennial complainers. We do the wrong thing, then take 2 steps back, and then now we start saying, this one, we shall not last with him. It is just the same way that it goes on in your house or your church. When they make you the chair of the youth for choir, the same choir members will start fighting you after appointing you. We are never, even if this Ruto is good or bad, I'm not in a position to know. Because we make so many mistakes and then regret later, that I am telling you, and put today's date down, on the 21st, mwezi wa sita, 2025, Kenyans will do the same mistake on the ballot and start complaining immediately after somebody is sworn in, whether they give it to Matiang'i, Maraga, or this same Ruto. But just before I finish, Bwana Mzalendo, thank you very much for this opportunity. Matiang'i and Maraga, you will say Maraga looks like the better person, like clean, a good account of himself, the resume is good. But do you see him selling? Even his own Kisi people are saying, you are too perfect. We want somebody who has a taint in his name. So they are waiting for somebody who is so bad to come and look better so that they vote for him again, and then we start complaining. And also it's good for you, Mzalendo, because now your show will sell. Because we are show makers. So you tell me, if Ruto came in and he was perfect, do you know even it was boring to watch the news? Citizen had nothing to say, NTV had nothing to say. They thrive on politics that is bad. So we entertain it, and we fabricate it, and we allow it to happen so that we coexist. We cannot live without drama. That's why when this Tanzanian president was kicking out Kenyans, she was very right when she said she doesn't want your drama in her country, because we are dramatic people. Thank you very much, Bwana Mzalendo.
Now, maybe I know so many people have got a rebuttal on whatever Dairas has said, but let me just start with what Afrique stands for. Afrique is not showbiz. It's not. It's not like those other shows that we come each and every day to vent over things which are not there. We are here sometimes, most of the time, to discuss serious issues that affect the country, and it's not really sometimes about how popular we become or how we want to be in the future. It is what we stand for, what you believe in. And if you can have a conversation with yourself, and there's so many people that believe in your ideology, then you become part of that movement that is called change, and what we believe in a country called Kenya. When you come to the issue of Kasamuel, for example, Kasamuel now became part of what he was really fighting for. He joined William Ruto, a government that he was fighting for against. Then he joined that, so he becomes the enemy of the people. So there's nothing spectacular that he has done to himself. Instead, he has tainted himself, and he has become personal. he has become like somebody who is now somebody who is looking for his political survival, meaning that he has realized that, okay, with these Gen Zs, this might not be my agenda. My agenda is in within ODM, and ODM is in the broad-based government, and the broad-based government is perceived as the oppressor of the day. So that is how people look at Kasamuel. The people who are laughing at Kasamuel the day he was running battles in the streets are the same people who are now in the broad-based government. They are the same people who didn't want the Gen Z movement. They are the same people who did not understand why these young people were against the finance bill, and they used to laugh at them. So when they were laughing at Kasamuel, they did not understand what Kasamuel was standing for on that day, and they made him even more confused. And perhaps let me join my community and pursue my goals. Otherwise, he would have just walked straight to William Ruto's party UDA, but instead he joined an outfit of ODM, meaning that politically he wants to align himself with a political officer, probably running in the next general elections. I know Darius has said a lot. I want some comments for whoever is ready to say something. Karibu. Jeremy, you've been quiet for a while. Or
Yeah, I'm listening to Dario, and
yes,
one thing we have to appreciate, and this is what makes a good and a bad politician. When you become a politician, you have to be alive to the fact that politics goes in seasons. Okay, when you are in the season of positives in politics, ride the wave until the wave dies out. When you are in the season of negatives in politics, don't be quick to jump ship, because you have an understanding that that season will also end. If that's what makes the difference between a good and a bad politician. Good politicians will stay where they are and go with it, but not move around. If you ask me, I don't think that Makure is a politician. I think that in Kenya, we sort of don't know where to draw the line between politics and everything else we do. Kila kitu ingechanganyishwa tu. As long as you become popular, they start associating you with politics and everything. Makure just found himself in a spot where, he was leading a movement. He could have easily just
with
faded.
With good English.
Yes, with very, very good oratory skills.
Yes.
He could have easily faded back into the shadows, because he was not the only leader of the Gen Zs. There were many. There was a good bunch of them, but him is chosen to stay in the limelight, going the ODM way. What he could have done, in my view, was to stick with whatever they were doing. Okay, but I think that he didn't go just because of securing his future and all. They started having financial squabbles internally, between the monies that people raised to support them, who had the money, who did what, and all. He could have stuck it out with them. He would have probably be having a bigger profile than jumping ship and going into the ODM. Because I tell you what, him going into the ODM really took the sails out of, the wind out of his sails. He may deflate completely.
Very true.
And I don't think there is no coming back from that for him. I don't think there's any coming back for that from that for him. He will stay in the obscurity of being, in the sidelines of ODM things. Ako pale amevaa tai ya orange, amefunga nini ya orange, but that's pretty much it. Unless he decides to vie on an ODM ticket for some MCA, MPA, or MP or something in his locality, he might get something. But in terms of national politics, if he had stayed with the Gen Z movement, regardless of what was happening at that particular season, he would probably be having a bigger profile politically than he has.
Yeah,
And that's why
he would have even been the leader now. I am telling you.
Actually, people would have pushed for him to be the leader if he had stayed there. Yeah, if he had stayed there and addressed whatever issues were there, he could have just understood that this is just a season. The good season when I was the speaker and all media houses wanted to talk to me to know what are the Gen Zs up to. That season ilikuja na imepita. Now we are in this season where now tunakuwa na squabbles. He should have just stayed there. Angeruka kwenda ile side. Then by now he would be in a season where he's now putting this whole thing together. He would be the one building, and trust me, he had the capacity to put this whole Gen Z movement together formally and run with them like that. If only somebody had advised him that politics comes in seasons. When you're in the positive season, ride it until it dies out. When you're in the negative, don't change your stand. You don't have to, unless it's a life or death situation. Don't change your stance. When you change your stance, make sure that it is the only option that you have. So that's why I'm saying he was not a politician. If he was seasoned, angejua hiyo, he could have just stayed with the Gen Z movement. He would be a much, much bigger profile than what he is currently in ODM.
Eric.
Yeah, I just wanted to add, you're very right when it comes to Kasmuel. I think he is very naive. As a young man, I think all that praise went to his head when he was being called the new tomboy and all that. I think all that went to his head. And I don't think the Gen Zs really subscribe to personality politics or personality issues where they follow one man. And to him, I believe he was approached by ODM to see that if he can bring the Gen Zs over, to ODM, and that was a miscalculation on his part, because from the onset, the Gen Zs had mentioned they don't want to be aligned to any of these parties that are existing. So for him, his whatever political star that he thought was shining, now it's all gone, and no one wants to, the current the Gen Zs don't want to associate with him, and I think he shot himself in the foot. He would have stuck out with the Gen Zs, and probably by now he would have been, he would still be relevant, because at the moment he's not relevant anymore. No one talks about him. There's one point that I remember. I think it was the women were on the street demonstrating, and he appeared somewhere, and he was actually chased away by the people that were there. So that's how bad things have become for him. And I feel it was a big miscalculation on his part. And he should have, like you said, he should have stuck through and stand with the Gen Zs, and that would have been maybe a much better platform for him if he wants to jump onto politics. I think that would have been the best move, but it was a big miscalculation on his part, thinking that by him being given all this platform, now he's got, now he's got the bargaining power to go join a political party and and be somebody there. That's it for me. So I don't think what he did was right. I think people see him as an opportunist. He went and decided to think about himself by joining ODM. So for me, it was not a good move.
Wow.
Yeah.
I think Samuel, wherever he is, is listening to what the advice people are giving him right here. I know Kenya Maandamano Kamili, you've got something to say about that. And you know, even the people who used to follow Raila and his politics, immediately he changed direction. Had he been consistent, I keep on saying, had he just stuck to what he believed in and what he stands for each and every time, especially during this time when Ruto was having problems in government, there's some kind of there's a feeling that Ruto would have stepped aside and called for elections so that Kenya can elect another president. I don't know what you feel about that. Nyakairo.
Well, I just want
Remember,
to.
you are a supporter of Baba Kamili.
That was my flower by then, without knowing that people can change so easily like that. Somebody who was very powerful understood, but maybe we understood him the wrong way, the opposite. I want to add a point to Jeremiah. Jeremiah, you said something which really took my mind, got in my mind, and I want to say it is true. However, which movement you join, you join fully heartedly. You cannot just join a movement halfway. Wakauri did a lot of good things. People favored him and they saw him that this is a good guy who is doing the right thing. But I think his ground was shaken. He was not strong on that ground. And that is why it was very swift for him to change his mind and go to the next step that he went, which really brought heartbreak for many Kenyans who are following him. The same as Kebaso, as I said, he was doing very good thing, showing people how Ruto has failed and launching things that have not even started and they will never start even today. And so why do you lose such kind of knowledge to just like that? It means that maybe you are just making a show, not a serious thing in you. How many people can vote for Makare for anything? I don't think so. How many people can vote for Kebaso? Kebaso now is not busy. He's just outside the fence, just watching. And where is he heading? You can't build your name like that. That you get somewhere and then you disappear because something is better than what you are doing. Then you are better from the word go, not do that. Just stay away. For me, I really felt so bad, so hard when these two young men left the right the right way and went wherever they went. However, he is getting those movement he's going, but I'm definitely sure he is somehow not contented with what he is doing because he has got so many things he has lost. As you have said that he would have vowed to be somebody who would have ran for either political position, That is good. And we were looking forward for them. Actually, even people are suggesting very high posts for those two guys. But when they disappeared and started working differently, people lost the faith in them, and we never wanted even to hear from them. Now, he joined there because it is something that already has been worked for. It is mushrooming. And so he felt that this is easy for me to get there, as Jeremiah said, the opportunist. That is very true. Kwa nini usifanye kazi na bidii? Ujikaze pahali umesimamia, kwa sababu huwa haukuwa msimamo wa just for that one day. It was continuous, and he knew that. Why did he change his mind? It's his own cause, not for people's cause. People never neglected him. No, people did not even say anything bad about him. He is the one who went, and one day he thought, this is which way I'm going to take. Don't use other people just for your own name, only to come and dump them when they most need you. You really affected so many people, and they will never trust you. However, how easy it could be for you to join where you joined, people will never trust you in any way. And then the popularity that you had just went all the way down. Kwa hivyo asifikiri atakuja kudanganya watu ati wamsikize ndio awe kiongozi pahali fulani. Maybe he is lucky, but that was like an insult. That's my take.
Yeah, for Makoure, I think he knows that if Baba can give him a push, then political parties also have got an opportunity to nominate. So he's looking into those lines, get into parliament and be part of that voice that is in parliament. I think that is the direction that this young man, if I read his mind so well, is taking. Me, I was in a group of Morara Kibaso. I can tell you, many times Jeremy told me that that guy has been bought a long, long time ago, and I was like, let me give him some time. But when I started seeing, when I asked, I confronted him and told him, and nowadays I don't see you like attacking the government as much as you used to, or you're not very vocal, and he's like looking for finances to do the Vampire Diaries. But the government slapped him with a KRA bill of, I don't know how many million, 200 million or something. I think that was far-fetched because maybe in my own thinking, that is the money that probably was paid or something like that. That is in my own thinking, the way I think, because this, how do you make Jeremy in Kenya? You are a businessman. Can you wake up one day and tell me, give me this business that can give you 200 million? Yeah, that is not wash or any other dirty deal that you're doing, inakupatia tu 200 million mara moja. Darius, hebu tuambie hii biashara ni gani?
Asante sana mzalendo. So before I say something, I'll be very brief. I did not say that Freak is after any sensationalization. I was talking about Kenyans in general, the way we are. Before we discuss anything, we have to know how we are. So anyway, that's behind us now. So what I was trying to say about this Makoure and this other guy, Kebaso, let me just make a few points about these two guys. I don't know if you had already discussed before. Like I said, I came in late. So this is the situation. I already explained about Makoure and the circumstances that led there. You might not be aware that Makoure is a musician. He was a musician. So this boy, he pushed himself. He was not identified by anyone, or he was not pushed by anybody to front anybody. I have a teenage daughter. So me, I'm very much online. I read all these spaces. The same Gen Zs who are fighting for space pushed this boy away. They said that you are not our leader. Don't defend us. Blah blah. They really insulted him. That is way before even this boy made his whatever move that now is being criticized. And you can go back to the records and check. I have a lot of receipts to show. Makoure was insulted. People started saying, "Oh, who told you you'll become our leader? Why are you speaking for us?" All these things that Kenyans go through in cyberbullying. He went through it because people did not appreciate. And that is when he realized even his journey, he is by himself. And that is why I was trying to explain to you guys. It is not like he was being deemed as by anybody as a leader or in leadership. So when you are not being viewed as important to anybody, that is when you carve your own way, right or wrong. Let me tell you, all of us here have made some moves that we are not sure if this is correct one or the wrong one. So me, up till now, I cannot say he's right or wrong. He has just made a move that might impact positively on him or negatively. But to say that Gen Z was looking after him or he disappointed anybody, he didn't disappoint anyone. In fact, he took the load off them, of them thinking he's their leader, because they said they didn't want a leader. That is number one. Morara Kebaso. The things that Morara Kebaso was doing at first was even shocking to us who have been living for almost 50 plus years now. Because nobody could go and say, government took this money and it has not done ABC. Nobody could do that because these people are bad. These people are vampires. They will finish you. But he took that bold decision to do it. Ladies and gentlemen, guess what? The same Gen Zs went online and started saying this guy is stealing money, he's asking for money. But you, Mzalendo, you want me to go to do a project for you in Virginia, Houston, Austin, but when I ask for funds because I am a young man who is not very much financially stable, you join into a cheering squad of now start putting fingers on me. So we have to accept one thing. We are very progressive people, but we are very scared when somebody starts making moves towards progress. If today we'll give Mzalendo a task to do for us, and he comes with that kofia yenye amevaa saizi, we'll start saying hii pesa yetu ndio ananunua nayo kofia. We are Kenyans, we know this. Morara Kebaso has been pushed to a corner that he is now by the same people he was fighting for. Morara Kebaso sat with this opposition that Mzalendo has a big hope with, yakina Kalonzo. He asked each one of them kwa macho, Kalonzo, that money that you took in 1992 for ABCD, did you account for it? He could not respond. He asked Gachagua, this project that you said you are going to build a road and you built to your house, did you take this and this? He refused to answer. He went on TV. I was watching on a show where he was with the new Secretary General for this party for Gachagua. He told him, I asked your boss, when he was in government just for 2 years, he did A, B, C, D. When I asked him to account, he refused. I asked Kalonzo, he refused. And he refused to work with these people. You know that is the right move. But look, today we are looking at him as a failure. We liked you, but now we are nowhere. But we are the people who have actually pushed him off limelight. Hata saizi ya party coverage will stop coming to you. Kenyans will start insulting you and cyberbullying you until you are pushed to the corner. That is what was happening to Makoure. Do you know the story of Makoure? Makoure was raped when he was a kid. This is a kid who actually needs help. This philanthropy job that he was doing as an activist was helping him to get mental stability. He was not choosing to be anybody's leader. So when you go into that direction and you are from a poor family, this big shots up there will come to your phone and look how to buy you out. And they can easily succeed when us who are being oppressed are not talking in one voice. And it is what exactly Kenyans are doing right now. Mzalendo, as our leader in this group, I would ask you, you will scratch your head so much if I ask you, Ruto has messed for over 2 years, and we don't have a formidable person that we can say this one can take you on. Can you imagine? We are still scratching our head, or this one, or that one, or ule. But huyu si mzuri, huyu aliiba. We are looking for that angel that is not yet born. And like I told you, we will go to the ballot, we will vote emotionally, and we will vote wrong, and then we will come back to cry. Thank you.
Thank you, Darius. Uh, Sometimes you have got very dramatic ways of looking at things, but I agree with you. We vote emotionally, but elections are emotional. It is like a football match. When you go to a football match, I know you are a supporter of FC Leopards and Manchester United, and you are emotionally detached with Manchester right now. They're not doing so well, and when FC Leopard loses, when you're going for that match, you are also emotional when you're going for that contest or that game. So elections are that. You cannot separate emotions from the elections. Emotions must be there when you are going to any other ballot. That is where there's singing and dancing. That is when you see even where you are when the other side won, it was all about emotions. So every other aspect of voting is part of our emotion, how we feel about things. If you feel that this particular candidate has been oppressing the young people, we will go with that emotion of anger that we want this person out because of ABCD. So what we do here is that you asked a good question. We don't know who we are going to vote for. We are looking for the lesser evil person or the person who is perfect for the job. That is why we have a constitution. We have a constitution that after every 5 years, we have to exercise that democratic right on that particular ballot. So every bit of your emotion is on that ballot, is on that voter's card. So you go there, you dip that emotion into that ballot, hoping that it will cool that emotion that you have towards bad governance, towards overtaxation, towards that bad MCA or MP that you have in your village. So that is because one, he has not done the roads. That is an emotional feeling. I am going to vote you out because this road has not been done. You ate the money. That is an emotional feeling. So for those who are saying that we vote with emotion, yes, we vote with emotions, and the emotions are that this particular individual has not done ABCD. That's why we want to kick him out. Eric, you've been quiet for some time. Can you say something?
Oh, okay. First of all, there's one thing I would like to disagree with when it comes to us saying that we don't have candidates out there that we can actually vote for. We do have Maraga, we do have Okia, so we have options. We can't say that oh, we don't have options of people to vote for. Let's say that we cannot vote for those people because we got an inclination to vote for our tribesmate or something like that. But we cannot say that we do not have options. We do have options. We do have people that we can actually vote for that can steer this country. When it comes to Kasmuel, we can't say that he was forced to take up that activism. No one actually forced him to do that. It was through his own will. So for him to say when you're out there in a public space, you have to accept that there's people that are going to criticize you, and that's normal. So you cannot turn around and say, "Oh, I went to ODM because people are criticizing me." Even in ODM itself, he's going to be challenged because it's not going to be like the lone voice there. There's going to be people that are going to have different views from his views. So um, all I can say is that the boy decided to do what he felt was good for him, and that was joining the a party. That has got nothing to do with the current struggle. That's got nothing to do with what the Gen Zs were pushing for. That's his way of getting whatever he was planning to get. So that bit, I think we have spent more than enough time to talking about someone who's a non-entity in my ward. We should not be here discussing about someone who's not who's for me is insignificant in the bigger scheme of things, if I can say so. So yeah, so let's stop talking about people that are not very significant in the bigger scheme of things when it comes to the Kenyan situation. Okay.
By the way, thank you very much. We'll wrap up that topic of Kasamuel and Mark and whatever Morara. Those ones are not significant right now. They are gone. This is the last discussion we're having for the night. There is this group called Gunzis. This group that is normally hired by politicians like Sakaja to cause disruption. There's a protest that is coming that is organized by Boniface Mwangi and a group. The Gunzis are still insisting that they are going to disrupt that kind of protest. What is your advice to the governor for Nairobi? I mean, we are having this problem where when people are in government, they are anti-protest, especially the peaceful ones. They want to disrupt the protest. They want to show that is it a show of that I am the one who is the governor and I am going to support President William Ruto's agenda at all costs, and you people trying to demonstrate should not demonstrate in my city where I am the governor. Is it right for people like Sakaja to hire goons? Yeah, and they come out on air saying that we were hired, we were paid so much, and they're still free out there. What is your take? Would be my last question this evening.
Maybe I'll go first. I was unfortunate on Tuesday this past week that I got caught up in the Gunzi, skirmishes, and I tell you it was bad. Yeah, some of the videos made their way onto social media. You see people, civilians beating civilians, civilians beating police, police beating civilians. So you don't know who is beating who, you don't know who is stopping who, you don't know who is helping who, you don't know who is protecting who. It was terrible. And it's a very unfortunate place for us to be in as a country. And I was just telling somebody the other day that I foresee a very bloody electoral period in 2027.
Yeah.
Pre-election. Post-election, I don't anticipate a lot of chaos. I think watu wamechoka. But pre-election, I think that our politicians are going to do something that they have never done before. They are going to balkanize this country like never before. They are going to make us fight each other like never before. When you see a group of people hired by a politician carrying crude weapons, going up against another group of civilians, and the first group that has crude weapons are running side by side with the police. They're taking shelter in police vehicles when the other civilian group comes. When I looked at it, I said, this is just the very, very first tip of the iceberg. And if we continue like that, I say to myself, this coming election, is going to be bloody pre-election. I think that people are going to be very intolerant of each other, and the more it keeps happening, the more our politicians will be inclined to build their own set of goons, because they'll realize very fast that if you don't have your own goons, somebody else's goons will kill you. And so imagine Nairobi, when the governor, say for example, this past election 2017, there were, I think, 8 aspirants for governor. There were, I think, 4 or 5 aspirants for the Senate, and then also about 4 or 5 women rep. And then now forget the 8 MPs, 8 MP slots across Nairobi County, each of those constituencies with 7, 8 aspirants. Now, each of these individual aspirants have their own goons.
And
Can you see that
political
chaos?
parties also have goons.
Yes. Can you imagine the chaos that looks like?
Wow, I can't even imagine. Do you know, Jeremy, sometimes you put things in a very simple language that I love. Look at that scenario. I did imagine that even if you go back in the village, the politicians works with youths with look at Ongondowere's case. The
Yes.
politician works with the youths with the pangas, machetes. Yeah, this is
Yes.
a leader. And the
Yes.
police are also in the convoy. The person
Yes.
giving him giving him guard there is a youth and a policeman who is assigned to the MP, paid by
Yes.
our tax, and he has allowed that to happen. Yeah.
Yes.
The other day, I saw the president of the Republic of Kenya in Eastlands anaenda motorcade yake, na huku kwingine nyuma waizi wanapora watu wakifuata motorcade ya president.
Yes. Wacha kufuata. The outriders, they say, I think we discussed it in some episode.
Yes.
I think that was very early this year, I believe, and it was in Eastlands. So
Yeah, in
that
Eastlands.
the presidential motorcade does not exist anymore. The outrider pikipikis are not there anymore. It's borders, and these are thieves who are robbing people in broad daylight. Then now the presidential convoy inafuatilia. How did you even get there?
Jerry, meburudi hapo. Siku hizi hakuna zile pikipiki za zinaenda msafara wa rais.
No.
What
He
do you
has
mean?
them. He has them when he's going for this official kama anaenda Nyausaliam and all. But when he's driving around the city, the outriders ni border people.
What?
He's like in a rally. Yes.
yani president anasindikishwa na watu wa mandudhi.
Yep.
Yes.
Yeah, I saw that. Yeah, ilikuwa it was on TV, in fact, and even on social media. Those people were shops were actually closing down. Your time akizunguka Nairobi. People were like, the president is coming. All the shops are closed.
Hiyo ni duka lazima ifungwe because hiyo ni wizi tayari.
Yeah, because those guys wanakam na boda, the ones that were following him or before him, they wanakuja wanapita na everything kwa maduka. People kwa streets, they were robbing people on the streets.
Unajua ile kitu mnasema hapa ni kitu kwani sana.
It is true. Me, I'm telling you, I say it.
I'm imagining a scenario. The president is leo jana alikuwa Eastlands. I was in Eastlands for a tournament in Makongeni. So initially when the former president Moi nani akienda mahali, first the security team inaenda huko ina assess this.
Nakumbuka you remember presidential escort?
Yeah, presidential escort. They are even
non-existent.
Inaenda mapema.
Non-existent now. When Ruto is coming, ni manduthi zinakuja.
Yeah, nakwambia sahi Kenya we are on uncharted territory. This is
Oh my God. Oh my God.
Yeah.
President anasindikizwa na manduthi.
yes, we are on uncharted territory sahi with the current regime. The things that wametuonyesha, I don't think we'll ever see the same things happening in this country.
Nyakairo, ulikuwa unajua hiyo?
I was telling.
No, I didn't know that because I thought they were
outriders. You know the way you used to know, President akikuja mahali.
Nyakairo, are you in Nairobi?
Are what? Sorry,
Nyakairo, are you in Nairobi?
No.
Oh, okay. I would have dared you that kesho ukisikia where the president is going, just make your time and go ahead of before he arrives and see, just so that you can witness.
Make sure you leave your phone at home.
Yeah, no, just get yourself in a good vantage point. Get into a hotel somewhere where you can sit and see.
The other day I was warning, Bana. You were telling me you had a very important meeting and kulikuwa na maandamano na nini. I told you, Bana,
yes.
Please don't go to those places. When you hear the demonstration, unless it is necessary, and people who own companies, please.
I agree.
Your workers stay at home because it's a matter of life and death. You can get into that.
I agree. But you see, as a businessman, life has to go on.
Die. Angalia ule jamaa alishutiwa huyu wa mask. Wewe ungekuwa umepigwa risasi hapo na mafaili zako, wewe hata ukuwa part of the maandamano. And this officer does not even want to talk to you. He will tell you, wewe umepatikana hapa, kula hiyo risasi. Can you imagine?
Yeah, I was telling the principal to one of my children's school, time when earlier this year when they were closing, this is really strange. I think Kenya is not progressing. During our days, tukisikia president anakuja,
boss,
shule itafungwa. And every principal wants to know atapitia njia gani ndio tuende, so that president akipita atatuachia kasoda, atatuachia kang'ombe, ataachia shule school bus, roadside announcement, something. He will give something. So people actually want to go where the president is passing by. But now we are aware president is coming to pass here, hebu kujeni mchukue watoto shule mapema. Can you imagine? Mnaambiwa go and take your children from school, mwende now home because the president is coming to pass by and you don't know what will happen. The president is supposed to bring a sense of security and safety to the people. But if you feel threatened because the president is coming, then you are better off without a president. Sindio?
Wow. Yeah, this country is on autopilot. People say the same thing, that the country is on autopilot.
I think we need to end it there. Maybe your last word, Nyakairo. I'll go around like that to Eric, ladies first, Nyakairo, then Eric, then Jeremy. Just the last word to Kenyans out there.
My last word is my wish that Gen Z stand on your grounds, get votes, voter card, have ID, anything that pertains the election, keep it with you. Stand on your ground. Don't give up. We will win. However messy it will be, expect a winning card. However, we know that there will be no peace. Prepare yourself, and God will take care of you. That's all I can pray for my country to come back to normality. Thank you.
Eric.
What I can say is out there, let's have a lot of civic education. Let's empower the people to know that they have the power to change the system. They have the power to move the country in a different direction. So the Gen Zs, they should keep on agitating and organize themselves and ensure that they get their voters card, they get their IDs, and please turn up on the election day. Your vote can make a very big difference to how this country moves forward. And that's it for me.
Jeremy. Nalizia.
Me always say we only have one Kenya. Let's do the right thing. If we don't, we are going to be in trouble. And the right thing means let's get our voters card and IDs ready, leave our emotions at home, carry our functional requisite brains to the ballot box that day, and tupige kura. That's it. It's that simple.
Well, thank you guys who have been part of this discussion. I can see Brother Ben Media there. Thank you very much, Brother Ben. Karani, who has been there, and all those who have been following us from the Mtubei platform and other platforms who have been watching and they have not subscribed to Afrique. Please do make sure that you subscribe to Afrique 24. We always have these discussions every other weekend and every other day when there's another issue that is arising. Don't miss our Friday edition when we host it with Brother Ben Media, and this weekend edition when we have very good panelists like Maandamano Kamili, Eric from South Africa, Jeremy, and many directors from Tennessee, and many people who are here previously on this particular show. Why my last remark to you guys is Kenyan elections are not an event. They are a mirror of who we are and we are going to become. Stay curious, stay bold, stay awake. Afrique 24 continues. Yeah, so kaeni chonjo, kaeni rada. Sisi tutakuwa hapa each and every time tukiwapatia civic education. Hatutachoka kuwapatia civic education, and we have got very knowledgeable people here who break it down so easily for you to understand, even comparing systems from South Africa to Kenya. Uh, you know, uh, so please make sure that you follow this conversation and be part of the discussion. You might not be at home, you are abroad. And those who are abroad, there is County 48 that is coming up, and it's being structured. Make sure that you join County 48 in Cairo. County 48 is a very good idea where people in the diaspora get to have a voice, get to have a say in particular county that they come from the leadership of the MCA right to the governor. Say something when something is not going right. Give an idea if you are in the diaspora. Give some resourceful information that they need to have in terms of governance. People here have been in systems that work, so sometimes we can borrow a few things and incorporate them in our systems back at home. Just don't stay abroad to make car too. You cannot do anything because you are just abroad. Sisi tuko huku majuu, but we are doing something that can help the people back at home make good decisions. If the government is doing something nice, we will tell you on this particular channel. So don't be afraid to come to Afrique. If you are on the other side, please tell us also what is happening nice, that if Shai is working good for you, come utuambie Shai inafanya kazi vizuri. Otherwise, have a good night and have a nice week ahead. I am Zalendo. Asanteni sana.